Dan and Corey here, welcoming you into Libservative.
The great fundamental issue now before our people. We, the people, cannot turn back.
Welcome in! Oh, for God's sake.
It worked, dude. The boys are back in town.
Welcome in to another rousing rendition of Libservative, intellectual idiots fostering political and cultural literacy, and the world's smartest internet show. He is always his Corey Walsh.
He's Dan Griffin.
No Bell the Body Snatcher tonight, but not because he is off philandering or on a bender. Corey and I have given Bell a copious amount of DMT and sent him on an adventure to Epstein Island to try and find Alan Dershowitz's underwear, and he will be reporting recorded live here in just a little bit. We can't wait to get to that. We are back from a much-needed vacation. How was yours, Corey?
Ah, jeez. Well, let me tell you, Dan, it was a great fucking time. 11 days driving out to Cape Cod in Massachusetts. You know, we stayed in Pennsylvania, then went to New York, and then went to Cape Cod. And
ew, gross.
It was a lot of fun, you know, a lot of surprises. The first campsite we thought was a campground ended up being forestry camping. So we were in a mountain, but a mile or two from anyone else or anyone in civilization. And,
I don't give a
fuck. I told you that fucking soundbite is great. And we ended up after that in New York, and we were at a place called Madawaska Lake. Ran into a guy from the 82nd Airborne because for some reason all these fucking liberal states they don't let you have fires on your own campsite. Something about wildfires.
They don't let you be in the military.
Something about wildfires, right? So they all had like community campfires, and met a guy from the 82nd Airborne, and it did give me a little bit more of not necessarily understanding or appreciation, even though both of those words could be used in this. But when it comes to people who serve in the military, and we've talked about this on the show before, we don't like the figureheads of the military who are choosing to send these people who are signing up in good faith to do kind of bullshit things. But this guy was in the 82nd, and there was words that he said that just stuck with me because marriage fell apart, he lost his kids, he was confiding in me after a bunch of beers at 2 a.m. around this campfire. And
we have actual audio of what you said.
The only problem is I can't understand a word you're saying.
No, but he said, I wish they would tell you when you sign up that even though they do give you a lot and they give you the opportunities and all the things you see in the in the commercials and stuff of all the benefits of joining the military, I wish they would tell you how much you have to give up because God damn it, I miss my kids.
Be all that you can.
And I heard that and I was like, fuck, dude. I was like, dude, that's wild. That's wild to me that here there's an interchange, this commingling type relationship of the people who are being able to afford to talk shit about you and live the lives they live without understanding what you're doing. And you're giving all of that up to make sure that they get to do that. And it was just
load that we've seen.
It was wild. And then he kept going on a little bit more about it to the point where I was like, all right, this is kind of a drag. I'm going to go to bed. But
it's depressing you?
A little bit. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor, Dan. But it made sense after everything he was telling me of why he free climbs up mountains hundreds of feet without fucking harnesses. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That motherfucker, man. Dude, you could tell he was kind of a bit of a badass. There was a bunch of these young kids around the fire, and I don't think they truly appreciated what he was saying. And now the stuff he said that he did, because when he said something about someone said something about the military, and he goes, oh yeah, he goes, I know how that goes. And someone's like, are you in? And he goes, well, yeah. He goes, I was 82nd. And I was like, and I don't think any of them even understood what that meant. And I was like, 82nd Airborne? And he's like, oh, yeah, yep. And I was like, holy shit, dude. I'm like, you guys are the badasses. Like, you're the ones that are like 18 hours, they could be anywhere. And he's like, yeah, that's what we say, And then he was telling me this story of how he almost died because he was the last one. He was like in charge of like the platoon getting sent off. And he was the last one to go off, and the light turned red, but he decided to jump anyways. And he jumped, and the plane, after when the light turns red, they bank hard. This motherfucker jumped out of the plane and then landed on top of the plane before his fucking could pull his chute. And he was telling me the story of how he dislocated his fucking shoulder when he did that and smacked into this plane and rolled down the back of it. And it tangled up his first chute, and his arm was dislocated, and he had to pull the string and hold it with his teeth and keep pulling it to try to guide this fucked up parachute to get it out of the way to pull his reserve. And then again,
life isn't about getting drunk and eating chicken fingers all the time, all right?
That's what I was doing around the campfire. And this guy's poured his whole life out to me. And I was like, yeah, but these mountains are pretty cool, right? But no, it gave me more of an appreciation of what those guys actually give up. And it's fitting to the whole July 4th theme, right?
Sounds like it sounds much better than the epic battle that I'm fighting today, which is an absolute unbelievable bout of diarrhea. So far I'm winning, no skid marks. But you can stay tuned. Yeah, it's bad. The constant flushing might be causing the floods in Texas right now. Just so everybody's aware, it might be 100% my fault. As of about an hour ago, I have officially moved from the wiping stage to the blotting stage of the fight. So thoughts and prayers are needed as I move forward this evening. No, I know. I'm hoping I'm on the other side of it.
The blotting stage is the worst. You're over there using 80 grit sandpaper.
Oh, dude, it's bad.
Oh, my kid saved my life.
Your kid saved your life.
My kid saved my fucking life when we were in New York. So in New York, they have timber rattlesnakes. And me and him went off of a trail and just decided to climb some mountain.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
And there were some rocks. I'm like, let's climb these, buddy. And he goes, okay. And I climbed to the top. And I shit you not, probably about 3 feet from me, there was the next rock that I was about to climb on that was layered on top of this rock. And there was a little crevasse underneath. And it was about eye level with my kid. And I'm about to jump onto that next rock. And Corey goes, Dad, there's a snake there. And I'm up here and I'm walking and I'm just like talking to him as I'm walking. So I don't hear anything. And I'm just bullshitting and hitting my vape, and he goes, Dad, there's a snake there. And I went, what? And I stopped. And as soon as I stopped moving, I heard the rattle of a fucking
Nobody's
snake.
ever been hit like that.
I jumped back a little bit and I looked down and there was a fucking 4 or 5 foot fucking timber rattlesnake underneath this rock, just sitting there and doing this little coily thing, waving its tail with its head going like this, like, get the fuck away from me. And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, thanks, dude. You saved my life.
So what Corey might not be here today.
So what did I do? I played the gamble of on the fine line wire. After that trip, after that we went to Cape Cod. Then after Cape Cod, we went to Hershey Park, the theme park in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Cool as fuck. I played the little gamble, the tightrope of playing either a really, really shitty dad or that's the really cool dad.
Hershey Park, by the way, also the nickname for my bathroom over the last 8 hours.
Yeah. All the water in Hershey Park is brown, like the wave pool, the fountains, everything. And it's not because of shit, but it's because it's all chocolate. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't give a fuck.
I made that part up. But no, I made the mistake of getting in the wrong line because most theme parks, we've all been to Cedar Point, Walt Disney World, all these different theme parks, and they have like a rhyme to the reason where the park has like a little bit of a flow of a sidewalk that does like a big loop, or a big square, different things like that. This one was like a goddamn flea market. It was all these nooks and crannies and shit, and like entries to rides didn't look, or entries that looked like they were to another ride went to a different ride.
Take forever to say nothing.
I know, I'm sorry. And I accidentally fucking brought my kid, who's 5 years old, on a fucking roller coaster that did loops and shit because I thought it was just a mild little ride.
Fucking white people.
He loved it though. Yeah, that was like one of the whitest fucking stories, right? Like, oh, Cape Cod, oh, the mountains, oh, theme park.
I
Oh,
almost got bit by a rattlesnake.
yeah. That is probably something you don't hear very many people of, like the blacker shade.
Use your words carefully here, Corey.
I know. I tried to say it as clunky as possible, but yeah.
Slightly,
Because like when I
more-
told them my black friends about it, they're like, that's why I don't fucking go in the woods.
You know who doesn't get bit by rattlesnakes? Brothers.
Yeah, probably not very often. The ones in Texas might. Depends on your geological location.
That's true.
But I hang
Shall we
out.
dig into it,
I hang
Corey?
out with a bunch of black people from the city because I'm near the city.
All right.
That's all.
What do we got? What do we got tonight? We've got the backlash that is coming for Zoran Mamdani for all of the wrong reasons.
Oh, and then I have one more thing to say really quick, Dan.
Oh, fuck. Go for it.
I'm sorry. I really have to say
Just
this.
do it now.
Dude, fucking East Coast traffic, East Coast drivers are some of the stupidest fucking people I've ever met. Like, holy shit, dude. Like,
That's
like, oh, no, well, shit, now it is. When you're making a 4-hour trip in Michigan up to like up north, you probably run into like 15, 20 drivers in that 4-hour drive where it's like, wow, that guy's a fucking idiot, right? Just driving fast, driving down the shoulder, fucking doing stupid shit, cutting people off and slamming down their brakes. It's
Sorry, I wish I could do something.
Wow, you're a
but I
shitty fucking
can't.
driver. Now take all of those drivers and have them all around you at once at the same exact fucking time. And they don't speed up and get out of your way like the Michigan drivers do that are pieces of shit. You either pass them and you leave them behind, or they just blow by you. These guys all just hang around you like mosquitoes, like you're in a fucking swamp and you forgot the off. Like they're just swarming around you, dude. Like it's just a fucking mess.
Seriously overweight.
Some of them might be. I didn't look inside. I was looking
Very
forward to it.
successful,
Not
very
going
rich.
These guys are driving like fucking idiots.
You just wanted to get that rant out there.
Oh my god, dude! East Coast drivers.
You just wanted to let all the people on the East Coast know they suck at driving. Either that, or are they really good at driving? Because
Well, they might. I mean, to them, they might all be used to it. Like, and then and I'm not grandpa driving. I'm following Waze. I'm doing like 9 miles over the speed limit. Like that's the speed limit. I think that is pretty safe before a cop is like, yeah, fuck this guy. I know that Ohio State Police. Here's a tip for everyone. I looked it up. ChatGPT told me. Ohio State Police, one of their mottos is 8 you're great, 9 you're mine. So if you're driving through Ohio, just do 8 over. Pennsylvania, you can do about 9 miles and they'll leave you alone. Especially if you're a part of a pack. I wanted to know how fast I can go because I love speed. This is America, Dan. It was the 4th of July. Fucking bloody.
I know, dude. Speed limits are
sweaty
so
speed.
Speed limits are so anti-liberty.
They're fucking stupid, to be honest with you.
We didn't want to get into some libertarian debate over speed limits tonight. But maybe that's where the show will take us, because we do have the meltdown over the Zoran Mamdani getting the Democratic nomination for New York City. There are reasons to be very, very skeptical, particularly if you're a New Yorker, to be nervous about this guy. But it's most of what's being thrown out there that I've noticed is all of the wrong reasons for why you should be afraid of this guy. Well,
because he didn't want to just immediately, as soon as he gets elected, up and leave and visit foreign nations.
Yeah, so he's an anti-Semite for not wanting to govern New York exclusively. But also, the thing that I noticed, like, in the days after, because I think the nomination had come through, like, almost literally as we were doing our last show 2 weeks ago, so we didn't have a ton of time to talk about it. But
I didn't ask you how your week off was, Dan.
That's okay. I went to summer camp and I got diarrhea. We're good. So
Cliff Notes.
Yeah, that was the Cliff Notes version. So all of everything that I'm seeing on X, like immediately following this, it's died off because, as we know, the news cycle is just all over the place. But it was all about the fact that, like, he's a Muslim, and they're like suggesting that this guy's gonna introduce like Sharia law. You had Charlie Kirk posting things like, name a city that has gotten better with more Muslim immigration. And it's that thing that Charlie Kirk and his ilk always do. They ask these questions that don't really have answers because it's a false cause fallacy, which for anybody who doesn't know what the false cause logical fallacy is, it's naming something that happens after something else and immediately claiming that the reason that the second thing happened was because of the first thing.
Oh, kind of like the Texas floods.
Climate change activists do this shit all the time. So like there's no...
During the Texas floods, everyone's like, oh yeah, it's because they cut money to NOAA, which I'm not necessarily for, right? I think that we should have a pretty good national weather surveillance system, but they cut a bunch of money to it, and then they're like, oh yeah, this happened. And then it's just like, okay, well, when they had more money, they let Asheville happen. So it's like natural disasters happen. That's a false cause.
Yeah, it's a false cause logical fallacy. And then when you can't answer the question, they go, see, I must be right. And so, like,
granted, it's not good that he cut that money, but yeah.
Sure, but it's not that. So for example, have cities become shittier following lots of Muslim immigration? Sure, I guess that's possible.
Yes, as the Polish and Hamtramck. That's what they'll say.
One did not necessarily cause the other. There are a ton of other
100%.
factors that obviously go into a city taking a downturn following anything.
Yeah, it's like if y'all didn't just fucking leave at once, there might not have been a bunch of vacant homes for them to move into.
Yeah, but that's the thing. For some reason, the Muslim aspect is what's being focused on. Like it's fucking 2003 all over again.
I know we talked about that a couple weeks ago.
The aspect of Mamdani that I think is more scary is the socialist side, which, by the way, in most circles, the fact that he's a socialist and a Muslim, it's like, those are like really contradictory things to be in most circles.
Yeah.
Not a lot of socialist Muslims out there. I had some guy online the other day because I was defending that point, going, hey, let's focus on the socialist part, not so much on the Muslim part. And then he called me like, he said something to the effect of you. What did he say? He goes, you support, immigrants flooding into this country. First of all, making a claim that has nothing to do with what I said, but then he like tried to say that I would have supported Joseph Stalin. And I'm like, yeah, because Stalin was really, really well known for his progressive immigration policy.
Right.
Like, what the fuck are you even talking about? Like the places some of these people go is it's unbelievable.
Not even the agnostic, the guy who exterminated religion from his country
and kept everybody out. That's like saying that I support immigration and then saying that I like support Kim Jong-un or something like that. It's like not that much different. And then we've got like all like the random 5 or 25-second videos of what appear to be mostly Muslims at some sort of festival in a park somewhere or something like that. And it's literally just people walking around. And all of the Charlie Kirk type people of the world are sitting there going, this is what our country is becoming. It's being turned into the third world. And there's like a little Muslim kid blowing bubbles.
That's so anti-American.
Like, what the fuck are you? It's like, what is this supposed to prove?
They're doing what America is supposed to do by assimilating and going out in public and hanging out in parks, but they don't look like me and it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's and then it's like there's like this insinuation that Mamdani is like tied to Islamic terror, but also but hold on, the thing that makes that even more stupid, like you could run with that if that's the only thing you had in some circles, but the thing that makes that even more stupid is that he's also a socialist. And so last I checked, Islamic terrorists aren't socialists, and they also don't advocate for LGBTQ rights,
right?
the way that Sohran Mamdani does.
Right.
So, like they can't even get their own story straight with regards to this guy. Be scared of the socialist side. Yeah, city-run grocery stores are going to be a fucking disaster. It's not going to work.
Rent control probably isn't great for trying to get the housing market moving to where houses are affordable and available. Sorry.
Or making neighborhoods more desirable to live in.
Right. Yeah. Rent control doesn't do that.
No, it does not in any way, shape, or form. It's bad. It's a terrible policy. He'll be a failure as a mayor, but it'll be the socialist part of him that's the failure, not the Muslim part of him that's going to be the failure.
It's so fucking stupid. Everyone always misses the goddamn point.
Yep.
Maybe a lot of people on the right are racist.
We've obviously, Corey, we'll get to this in a minute because this is our big topic of the night, which is oh man, is everybody turning on Pam Bondi fast? Everybody's turning on Pam Bondi because of the fact that apparently Jeffrey Epstein committed no crimes.
Yeah, thank God. You know,
yeah, good thing we can sweep that under the rug now.
That there isn't a giant sex trafficking ring.
So
going
great
on in our government and our
so great, so happy
circles. Yeah, Trump
we have
bottom of it.
We have Elon Musk's America Party, and there is an absolute Republican meltdown over this one. I would assume that there would be a Democratic meltdown if they were in power right now. It's just the party that's in power is always going to throw a fit over stuff like this.
No, it's just because his little American Party, they know that it's going to carve out more of the Republican Party than the Democratic Party.
You know what the big claim is all over the X? The big claim is that Musk's America Party is basically a runway for foreigners to gain influence in American politics. That's the way it's being framed.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Because Elon's starting it.
Did they say that about Yang? No, they didn't care because he was carving out the left, not the right.
Exactly. And well, they said things like that on the left because he was, he's going to take votes away from the Democrats. And listen, I kind of want to see how this goes. I think it's going to be not good. And I think it's probably just going to be, if I had to guess, like if the America Party was able to take off and become even like a semi-powerful, Libertarian Party style third party that's got a little bit of influence, but you don't really have to worry about them. I think it's just basically going to be a technocratic platform because that's all I really view Elon as is just a technocrat.
Yeah, and it's I forget who was saying it. These aren't my words, but it was something that kind of crossed my mind is the idea that like one of his main platforms for his party is like ending the deficit or fixing the deficit.
I'm in
the debt.
I'm in just on that alone.
You're in, but you're a part of a very, very small factor of the American constituency who doesn't really necessarily care. I mean, we know that the debt affects other things, right? Especially long-term down the road. Sure. But they're not worried about what this country might be 6 months, a year from now, 2 years from now, let alone 10 years from now. They're worried about that paycheck at the end of that week covering all of their needs being met. And it's just, they're in a very micro, like, ecosphere. And he's talking about something pretty macro that they can't worry about because it's the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Because there is a little bit of a point of privilege to actually sit there and vote based on the American debt. Like, there is a point of privilege to that. It's something that, you know what I mean? Like, it's something to be concerned with, sure.
The problem is that, and I see your point.
Of whether it's Medicaid, Medicare, anything like that, to be able to put debt, knowing that it's going to hurt all of that stuff ahead of that, that's a little bit of a point of privilege. And how big is that circle? How big is that circle that it would succeed to overthrow the Democrats or the Republicans?
Well, it's shrinking by design, right? Because the smaller the middle class is, it's really easy to control poor people. You're
not going to do that by saying, "Hey, we're going to cut this debt, so we're going to cut all the welfare programs that help you."
So it's by design. If you shrink the middle class, if you have the middle class is really the class that looks at debt and deficit and goes, "Hey, dude, you're fucking over my future. You're fucking over my kids' future. You're fucking over my grandkids' future." You got rich boomers that don't give a shit because they're going to be dead in 6 minutes.
All the really rich people already have the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. They lobby them to write bills that help save them money. So they're not going to go to a party that's also against that.
So it's really easy to control poor people because all you have to,
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
All you have to do to control poor people, and this isn't like an indictment on poor people. We know that, poor people, as you said, Corey, are just trying to avoid a flat tire that's going to put them into bankruptcy next week and figure out where their next meal is going to come from and all that stuff. This is not an indictment on poor people, but the reason it is so easy to control poor people politically is because, hey, we'll give you a tax break, or we'll give you whatever it is, a discount on your Medicare, or we'll give you a child tax credit. We'll start these programs. It's the neoliberal school of thought of starting
And the
programs,
school of thought, apparently,
and keeping poor people reliant on government. So like that's the game that they play. So when people are like, the middle class has been shrinking, it's kind of by design. It makes sense. It makes sense for the most powerful people to shrink the middle class, because the middle class is the only class of people that is going to rebel against the nonsense of the elites.
Yeah, that is privileged enough to be able to, and financially secure enough, all of secure enough, again, the Maslow hierarchy of needs. Most of their bottom rung needs are met to where they can go, hey, we can rock this boat a little bit.
Yeah, and save a little bit of money and still go on a couple of vacations every year. You know what I mean?
Poor people they're still being led by a carrot on a stick, and the rich people are still using that stick to beat the shit out of people and fucking use their power and to expand the government to help them and not the working class or anyone else.
And, the more you can get people to understand that if you shrink the deficit, because I don't even think a lot of the American public knows what the deficit actually is. The deficit is, the big beautiful bill, which we'll get to in a second, is supposed to add $3 to $4 trillion to the deficit over the next decade or so. $3 to $4 trillion on top of whatever it is. What is it? What are we at? 130 or what are we at? 30-something trillion? What the hell are we even at right now? I don't even remember.
Last time I think I checked was 32 trillion, but it might be higher. It's obviously higher than that now.
It seems like a drop in the bucket, and I think that's the way a lot of people look at it. But what that is the deficit is the number that you add on to the debt afterwards. So if you're going to take $33 trillion and add $4 trillion more onto it in a decade,
37 trillion.
So you're going to be at over 40 trillion in the next decade in national debt. So if you shrink the deficit, you take away the deficit, you operate at a surplus, now you start to shrink the national debt. Now we have to stop worrying about loans, about paying loans back to countries that have borrowed against our debt. Right? I mean, now you have, and so now you can start implementing more fiscally responsible policies that help middle class, lower class, and the upper class too.
If it makes you feel any better, by 2029 we'll probably be 46 trillion in debt.
Sure, because we're still working with old deficits as well. Yeah, it's not. That's the thing. Is it's not just $3 to $4 trillion. It seems like a really small overall number, but there's just so much more nuance to it that I don't really feel like getting into tonight. As far as the American Party goes, I got two things to say about it. One is it's got a really stupid fucking name, because anytime you try to start a political party and call it like the Liberty Party or the Freedom Party or the America, you can't put anything that invokes national pride into the name of a party. Nobody's going to take you seriously when you do that. Nobody of any reasonable IQ. I don't like the name. However, on the other hand, anything that invites more competition in our political system, and I'm for it. I don't think it's going to work. I think it's probably going to be corrupted. I think it's probably just a technocratic ruse by Elon Musk and his buddies. All well and good.
You're going to create it and then just make a bunch of NFTs.
But if it adds more competition is always good when it comes to politics and when it comes to the free market. Give me more competition.
When sometimes votes come, because we live in a two-party system, it's not like a ranked choice voting, or it's, like when you add
Corey, we live in a one-party system. Let's be real.
I know that. But what I'm saying is when it comes to the illusion of the choice of the two, all you need, all you need, even if there's like a third party, like you have a couple third parties taking up 25% of the vote overall, you only need, what's 75 divided by 2? That would be 37 and a half. You need 37.5% of the American vote. That 0.5% makes a big fucking deal that you have to try to fight for to change your policy to beat not only the third parties but the other party that's up there neck and neck with you. So you might actually have to budge and actually do some shit.
And we already know that.
So I mean, having more parties, like his party will never win, but it can have influence.
And you look at things like, what are some of the organizations out there like Represent Us and other things like that? Like we already know, like there's tons and tons of documented proof that Democrats and Republicans, the uniparty, if you will, doesn't want competition. Gee, I can't imagine why they want to hold on to power. And how do they do it? Well, they take away ballot access. And so the amount of resources that you have to have, they gerrymander and they take away ballot access. They make ballot access very, very difficult. We saw this with Bobby Kennedy, right? A guy with means. Say whatever you want about Bobby Kennedy.
And it's from both ends, right? They're burning the candle on both ends of that aspect. When it comes to outside candidates, they'll literally sue. Like, I forget which state it was, but the Democrats were suing to keep Bobby Kennedy off the ballot
in one state, and then suing to put him on in another one, right?
Yeah, they were suing in one state to keep him off because it would hurt their voter base, but then suing in another state to keep him on because it would hurt the Republicans' voter base, and it's just a bunch of chicanery.
And the ballot access thing is the biggest thing. I think it's a lot of the work that Represent Us does and other groups, just making ballot access easier. And so if you're going to have a third party come about that's got like a chance to gain, even like I said, like even like residual, like Libertarian Party style power or Green Party style power, I think it's going to take a billionaire.
Well, they'll also do things too on the other end for the voter themselves. And I'm not talking about allowing people to vote without ID and stuff like that. Like, I think that in itself is kind of racist to say, oh, these minorities and poor people, they can't afford a regular driver's license. And it's like, give me a break. They can. They get them.
You're also insinuating that they're too stupid to be able to figure out how to get a fucking ID.
We live in a very, very culturally diverse area, and it's hard pressed to find someone who doesn't have a license and in the very least a state ID.
Yeah.
And most of the people that I met that are of age that should have had a license, if not all of them, that should have had a license at their age and didn't have one, was white. So
I don't give
a fuck. But when they turn around and they'll close down a bunch of voting like centers, I forget what they're called exactly. When you go to vote, like a place you vote at,
precincts,
voting precincts, and then they
place you go to vote.
Yeah, when they combine like 6 voter precincts to where like now all of a sudden everyone, instead of being able to hit up a precinct on their way home, they have to drive 15-20 minutes to a half hour out of their way after working a 12-hour shift to go wait in line for 2 hours at a precinct. You're making people less likely to want to vote. And for it's generally Democratic areas that complain about the voter ID laws. You had what you just said, Corey, is actually a way bigger problem in red states, in rural states, right? You live in a fucking farm town that's 2 hours away from the nearest voting precinct that you're allowed to go to. It makes it really difficult for people in red states, in rural areas, to go cast their vote. And so when you have Trump coming out and talking about like he wants every state to do like paper ballots and get away from mail-in balloting and all these things, like, dude, that's going to hurt your people a little bit too, because now they have to find the time to get into the car, drive 2 hours. Who knows how long they're going to have to wait in line? Hopefully not very long, because, it's a rural area, but at best is 4 hours, 5 hours out of their day, because they now have to drive and vote. And absentee balloting's been a thing forever. That's the way I've done my ballot the last 2 times. It's not a big deal. Absentee last time too?
Yeah, well, because I was out of state for the election.
Oh, that's right.
So yeah, go get your ballot, fill it out, take it to your fucking city clerk. Like you want to get rid of mail-in balloting? Like, okay, like I don't see the issue with mail-in balloting, but also if it went away, I'm not going to throw a fit about it either. I'm actually not comfortable mailing in my ballot, to be honest. I would much rather take it to the city clerk myself and put it in the little box or give it straight to the clerk. But I don't know. It does. We got off on a little tangent there about the.
I honestly think that they should just make
election
Day just a federal holiday. Everyone
that would be nice too, wouldn't it? What Trump already said. There's too many holidays on Juneteenth. Remember?
Yeah, good idea. Do it on that day, you fucking idiot. But yeah, no, I definitely think that like not necessarily every election, but like the presidential election every 4 years, you get a day off.
That's when everybody votes. Yeah,
that's when everyone votes. Like, how fun would that be? You make it a whole thing. You're out there, fucking carpooling in the parking lot for the precinct when the booths open. You're out there drinking in the parking lot and barbecuing, and you're having a great time. Go out to the bars after. There'd be a bunch of specials at the bars.
Yeah, it'd be fun. They'd be doing like red, white, and blue shots and shit.
Red, white, and blue shots, and like say like, if you have your vote, I voted sticker, you get 10%. You get a happy hour drink. You know what I mean? Like there could be so much shit.
Yeah, there you go. Dude, did you see the woke right doing its best impression yet of the traditional woke left with this Bob Villain Glastonbury thing? Did you pay any attention to this?
What? Say that again. I'm sorry.
The death to the IDF at Glastonbury. You didn't see this?
No, but I did see a dub of something about it with the Wiggles.
All right. All right, let me just play it. Let me just
while
play.
You're doing that, yeah, Aaron goes, Corey, that's how it used to be. Voting day, you would go to Lansing a vote. But like, okay, but how long ago was that? We talking like 100 years ago?
Not in my time. Let me play this for you.
Cars. Because when America first started, like you had to own land to vote. Like it was way more closed off than.
So following this incident at Glastonbury,
where's Glastonbury?
It's like a music festival.
Where?
In England.
So. Oh, like Ireland?
A punk. What?
Oh, you said in England. I confused England with Europe. Forgive me.
I think it's in England.
I'm sorry.
But so a punk rock duo named Bob Villain decided to say something absolutely horrible that has gotten them canceled by the woke right. Here we go.
It is in the UK.
It's like Bonnaroo.
Free, 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 free. Alright, but have you heard this one though? Death to the IDF. Death to the IDF.
Oh yeah, he fucked himself up, huh?
Death to the IDF. Death to the IDF.
Drums are a little busy.
Death to the IDF. Hell yeah, from the river to the sea, Palestine must be, will be, inshallah, it will be free.
So in reaction to this, the woke right has done its best impression yet of what we think of as the original woke movement.
I like the Wiggles dub way
2017,
better.
From 2017 on. Bob Villain was supposed to have a U.S. tour coming up in October. However, their visas have been revoked over this.
By criticizing a country that's not even ours.
Not even a country. Criticizing a military that many would consider a terrorist group. Now,
like if you would have said that about any other group in the entire world.
Death to ISIS, death to the Houthis, death to Putin, death to
Dude,
China.
The Vietnam protests. People are talking about the soldiers, like fuck the soldiers and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like you see people today now talking about our military on social media, talking shit about them.
But you can't say it about the IDF. So what do you think? What do you think most of the response to this was, Corey?
He's a terrorist.
Terrorist, anti-Semite, all the regular tropes that you would think. And the thing that came to my mind most, and why it reminded me so much of the original sort of leftist woke movement from 2017 to about 2023, is the fact that every time a woke movement tried to quote unquote cancel somebody, all they did was sat there and talk about him, put him in the media, made them more popular than they might have been before. Right? I mean, a great example is somebody like Jordan Peterson, right? Jordan Peterson had an okay following prior to the what was the bill in Canada, the compelled speech bill that he fought against. But until that came about, until he was booted from his campus, he wasn't that popular. Now he's one of the most popular conservative voices in all of North America.
Yeah.
You know, you think about over COVID, the censorship of people like Dr. Peter McCullough. Who the fuck knew who the hell Peter McCullough was before he was run off of the internet by a woke mob?
Yeah.
I mean, even somebody like Joe Rogan, who was remarkably popular even before COVID, we all knew that. I think I wouldn't be shocked to see
they just made him a pariah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked to see that his viewership and his listenership grew even more after, CNN turned him green and tried to cancel him for having the wrong voices on his show.
I never even knew who Bob
COVID.
Dylan was until now. So
that's my point.
Yeah.
Did you know who this group was priir to this?
No.
I didn't. Now
What
they're all
kind
over
of
the
music do
place.
they make?
They're I think they refer to themselves as punk.
Oh,
New age punk or something like that.
I don't give a shit about someone's political views. If they make good music, they make good music.
Exactly my point. I have come to the realization that I hope you and I get canceled one day. Nothing makes you more popular. Nothing gives you the ability to, in both a cultural and a capitalist way, gain than being canceled. It's one of the best things that can possibly happen to you. You can be, you got to deal with the original, mob backlash, and you got to be able to take the punches at the very, very beginning of it. But if you can come out on the other side of that, dude, you got it made. You got it made. Whether you're canceled by the left or the right. It's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing to happen to anybody. I recommend it. What can we say to get ourselves canceled today?
No, I'm just kidding.
Just so everybody knows, Corey really thought about it.
I was going to say neighbor. Brandon just commented. Brandon's watching. I don't know. We're about to have him on.
Oh, Bell said he can get us canceled.
Yeah, Bell said it. He can get us canceled.
Bell must be waiting for his spot to come up.
You're about to go live with him in a minute. I hope
we haven't forgotten about it yet.
I hope his connection's good.
Better than it is when he's on the show. Shall we get into it?
Yeah, weirdly enough, his connection
is way better on a remote island. The story of the week is the revelation that, as Tucker Carlson put it,
and Bell's right. The N-word is my safe word because I never use it.
Okay, all right. Anybody who says they never use the N-word uses it all the time. Sorry, Bell.
No, it's my safe word.
Oh.
It means no worries.
All right, let me see if I can get Bell's feed up here, live from Epstein Island. He's away on special assignment, and it was crucial. Don't ask how we got him there. We have our ins. Libservative is we don't give away our trade secrets. Oh, there he is. Let's bring Bell in for a live update from Epstein Island.
Boys, reporting to you from Little St. Epstein Island. It is shockingly hard to get here. It's very weird here. Smells weird. Smells a little bit like Vaseline in some places. Old dude cologne. Lip Smacker's lip gloss. It's like it permeated into the walls here.
I can smell this video right now.
Like a smell of
smell it.
Vision of what went on here. It's very weird. Everything's sticky. You don't want to touch anything.
I love how he dressed for the part.
Quite frankly, pretty fucking gross here.
It's a little bit like Andrew Schultz.
And the list of weirdos that still hang out here, a pretty long list. But the
give us
list
some names,
of
Bell.
Here looking for the list
Dan.
of Epstein's clients is non-existent. Earlier this week, the Department of Justice and the FBI reported that there was no evidence suggesting that Epstein had any clients at all.
Come on now, you expect me to believe that?
Also had evidence that he for sure did in fact die by suicide in jail.
Come on now, you expect me to believe that?
You know, you'd think this would put to rest some of the conspiracies that our Republican friends have been pushing forward. But it does bring up a few questions.
Does it?
Like,
I'd say so.
Why was there no video in 2019? But all of a sudden, in 2025, a magic video appears. And in this video, why is there about 1 minute and 2 seconds missing? It's a little strange. Why has Trump handled this whole entire thing like dog shit?
Bagels here.
He was getting questioned yesterday and was dodging questions better than he was dodging bullets in Pennsylvania.
You make the Pope look like a fool.
Why was it suggested that there was a client list in the first place? Why did Pam Bondi come out this whole past year saying, "Oh, we got a amount of evidence," blah, 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 just to come out now and say that there's literally nothing? Why would she hype the MAGA base up like that? Is Pam Bondi even fit for her job?
Some would say no.
It's like a joke, dude. And I mean, for my foiled tin hat people out there, are there people that could be on this potential client list that are potentially covering up this existent client list to cover their own ass?
It's a great question.
You know, there's so much fuckery going on with this Epstein thing that I really am not too sure what to think about.
Oh shit, buddy,
any
I
of it
gotta dig a
anymore.
little deeper.
But I'm gonna leave the speculation up to you guys. Back to you.
About we lost him. We lost him. But it
Jesus.
I thought you were gonna stop it.
Nope.
Now they're gonna pull the feed.
Bell did have a great connection from that island, though. I'm really impressed. I don't know what his equipment update looks like, but I was
Verizon's 5G hotspot here now available on fucking Epstein Island.
I'm really interested. I'm really interested in the fact that Epstein's Island had like really glorious fluorescent lighting. I mean, for those old guys to be able to see what they were having done to them.
I was concerned.
By the way,
you know what I'm about the hedge trimmers in the background. I don't know what that was about. But
I mean, you're talking about old guy pubes. You never know. I could smell that video, but I really expected there to be more of a. I know he said old guy cologne, but I expected him to be more specific with like
Old Spice,
like an Aqua Velva or
like the original Old Spice, not all the fancy flavors they have now. Do you remember when you
flavors?
Were a kid?
Do you eat it?
Yeah, fancy scents. I mean, what, you're not supposed to? I buy the chocolate all the time. It tastes like shit, but you know, I figure I might get used to it. But do you remember like the old school Old Spice that just came in that like white ceramic bottle? The Dab? Or Brute?
No. Brute, Aqua Velva. I was expecting like a scent of Bengay and maybe some like crusty boil over semen. I really expected Bell to pick up that smell, but he didn't. I'm impressed. They must have a Cracker Jack cleaning crew over there.
Well, the smell of Old Spice really covers every other scent.
And I really want to know if he found Alan Dershowitz's underwear. because Alan Dershowitz swears that
Or
he
Bill
kept his
Clinton's
underwear
dress.
on. Dershowitz swears that he kept his underwear on when he got a massage from those underage girls. He swears it.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah.
Jesus
Swears
Christ.
I didn't know she was 16.
Well, you know what's really funny to me is like now I'm really concerned because if Jeffrey Epstein, if there was no client list, and and which would allude to his innocence, why did he commit suicide?
Very successful, very rich.
Why did he commit suicide?
Why
Why is Ghislaine Maxwell still locked up?
We basically sent Bell there for no reason because he didn't find shit. You're looking for the drop, aren't you?
I was.
Tucker Carlson offered up his apology to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, and I thought, honestly, Corey, I thought that it was the right thing to do. So here's Tucker talking to Sagar and Jetty. I believe this is still Tucker's latest episode. He nailed it. Tucker absolutely nailed it.
I'll speak for myself. I never thought that I would be offering an apology to Jeffrey Epstein. I think of all the times I've maligned that
like
guy,
AI.
all the times I'm accused him of crimes, of blackmailing people, of trafficking children to powerful figures around the world on behalf of global intel services. And then I learned yesterday from Attorney General Pam Bondi that's totally untrue.
Yes, yeah.
The guy killed himself after 36 days in prison for no reason. He was a billionaire. He had no clients. He'd done nothing wrong other than get like naughty massages 20 years before. And the guy killed himself, another pointless death. And then his best friend, former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, doing 20 years in prison for no crime. There are no victims.
Yes, it's a victimless crime. They're obviously persecuted by the state.
Yes.
They're political prisoners, really. It's The Hague should come in and do an investigation, or we're watching one of the most systematic government cover-ups of all time.
It's so funny because that humor was so dry that it actually sounded like Tucker was being serious there for a minute. It kind of sounded like Tucker was being serious there for a minute.
It was very
dry
humor.
The dry humor there, I mean, it really does.
It's just bullshit.
It really does just suggest everything that culturally everybody feels about this Epstein case. It's like you cannot begin to describe how out of touch the elites are right now with the American people and how pissed they are and how much they don't trust you. When you think like they didn't even bother to try to come up, like spin some narrative about this. They just went, nope, nothing to see here. We got nothing.
Dude,
and
yeah, it's insane.
The most interesting thing is the fact that there are still so many sycophants out there that will, in a New York minute, throw Pam Bondi under the bus for this, as she deserves. Don't get me wrong. I am in no way going to defend Pam Bondi when she goes out there, whatever it was, 4, 5, 6 months ago, and does the whole, we've got all the documents and giving it to whoever she gave it to,
like Jack Posobiec,
Jack Posobiec, Tim Pool, all those guys. I don't remember who all got it, and they're all taking pictures like Trump with that fucking upside down Bible picture that he had, and now it's just nothing. And Pam Bondi talks about even in the most recent media thing that she just did, there were thousands and thousands of images and pictures, and it's all just child porn, so we're not going to release that. It's like, okay, fine. Nobody wants to see that anyway.
I know that meme, that tweet I shared with you the other day, Tim Pool.
About Tim Pool?
Like, Tim Pool goes, Pam Bondi is just going to keep all of these thousands of images and pedophilia to herself. And it's like, yo, dude, don't act like you're like jealous.
What do you say? Why do you sound like you're jealous?
Yeah.
Oh, Tim. Oh, I don't get it. I don't get that guy's following, to be honest with you. I don't think there's anything entertaining about him. The most entertaining video I have ever seen of Tim Pool was that guy that stole his hat. You remember that?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That was the best of it. And Tim Pool got really, really mad about it.
Yeah, you can't
People are going to
recognize.
People are going to recognize me now. It's like, no, dude, everybody recognizes you with the fucking hat. If you take it off, nobody's going to know who you are. So
And I wear a backwards hat at our show a lot, but sometimes I just don't wear it. I don't want that to be a part of my image. Just a hat.
That's kind of part of my image. And I'm not bald, I swear. I actually have a really nice head of hair.
You
Look.
can see my hair poking through. Look at this.
Really,
boom.
Really nice head. Not bald like Tim Pool. I had another video here. I think this. Yeah, here it is. I'm not gonna play it just this second. I just want to get her. Just want to get her queued. Just want to get her queued up.
Okay.
So, is this proof? Okay, proof is a stupid word because it's kind of an absolutist word, but I'll use it for lack of a better term. Is this proof that Epstein was involved with intelligence? Before you answer that, I am going to mention this because there's a lot of people, including Sagar in this interview, mentioning Alex Acosta, who was the U.S. attorney at the time
for Florida,
stating that allegedly stating that Epstein was involved with intelligence. That's kind of being misreported. In fact, Sagar on Twitter earlier today corrected himself for what he said when he was on with Tucker. So Alex Acosta did not, in fact, state in any sort of sworn testimony that he believed Epstein was involved in intelligence. That was from a Daily Wire piece or not Daily Wire. God, that's too much credit for Daily Wire. A Daily Beast piece, which that's honestly too much credit for Daily Beast because I don't think it exists anymore. It was from a Daily Beast piece from back in 2019 where an unnamed source had told the Daily Beast that Acosta said that Epstein was above his pay grade, quote unquote, and that he, quote unquote, belonged to intelligence. So there's no actual record of Alex Acosta saying that Jeffrey Epstein belonged to intelligence. However, Sagar did point this out as well in his sort of correction tweet, which was that Alex Acosta has never disavowed this claim in 6 years.
Right.
He's never said that it wasn't true. He's never said anything about it. Unless somebody can find something, I'll be happy to redact my statement on that as well. But wasn't that always the number one conspiracy theory? And I don't use conspiracy theory as a pejorative. In this case, sort of a credible conspiracy theory that Jeffrey Epstein was somehow involved in intelligence. Whose intelligence? What country? We don't know. A lot of speculation about Israel, which, if you connect the dots like Charlie Day, you can see how somebody could easily get back to Israel and Mossad with regards to Jeffrey Epstein. There are direct connections to Israel, both through Epstein himself and through Ghislaine Maxwell.
Oh, shit, buddy. I got to dig a little deeper.
Corey, is this just a simple matter of doesn't really matter what you do or what you say you're going to do? The powerful people in the world, the establishment, is always going to get their way, especially when you tie it to the heels of the fact that you have Trump, who is this quote-unquote anti-war president that was, say whatever you think your reasons are for it, but launched an offensive attack on Iran.
I don't give a fuck.
And we move on.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, it literally is. My main question is are we watching the MAGA movement implode on itself?
I don't think so.
I'll
tell you why.
Between this and Iran, you already saw a lot of people who were all about Trump go, whoa, at war with Iran, that's not what we fucking wanted. What the fuck are you thinking? And now the Epstein list, the whole thing which I'm so glad we do this show because I'm probably recorded saying this a year ago, at least, that we ain't ever gonna see that list.
No, we've said that many times.
Because if it was just Trump on it, the Democrats would have released it in a heartbeat. When they had the FBI, the CIA, the House, the Senate, everything, when they had all of it, they would have absolutely released this list. But it implicates a lot of their boys too. I'm not necessarily.
If there was a risk-free political gain for either party, this would have been released forever ago.
Yeah, but there isn't.
There isn't. I'm going to tell you why I don't think this is the implosion of MAGA. What I think this is the parting of MAGA. I think what we're seeing both with the Iran situation and with this.
Oh, that MAGA, the movement itself is going to continue, but they're leaving Trump behind now.
We're seeing MAGA essentially split in half, where you have the people that are genuinely America first, right? That were, we gave Marjorie Taylor Greene credit when she went against any sort of attack on Iran.
And she's out there spouting off about the Epstein list too. Like, what the fuck? Why aren't we seeing this?
Yeah, but she also voted for the big, beautiful bill. So we have that. But
that's politics regardless, though.
I guess. But I think you're seeing like the people that don't necessarily tie the MAGA movement to Trump, or at least they don't look at Trump as the end all be all of the MAGA movement. Like when they say America first, that's what they mean. I'll give you a great example. This was a while ago. I think I might have even talked about it once before on the show, and I know I've talked to you about it in private, Corey, where I was on vacation seeing some of my wife's family, and one of her family members, I'm not going to name any names, it's not really important, they were talking about the election, and it was before the Republican primary. And they were discussing sort of like the possibilities for the Republican Party, right? So we're talking about leading up to the 2024 election. And obviously, Trump was near the top of that list, as always. But then there was some discussion about Nikki Haley. I hate Nikki Haley, so I'm just listening because I find this conversation entertaining. But one of these guys says, I could never vote for Nikki Haley. Well, why? Well, because she went against Trump. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, okay, this is the problem with this faction of the MAGA movement. There is no loyalty to a fucking person. There is no loyalty to a president in the United States. If you like Donald Trump and you think he gives us the best chance to make America great, by all means, vote for him. I'm not going to give you shit for it. But when you say that you can't support somebody because of their disloyalty to a person, I can't any longer take you seriously. So now what I'm saying is we are at a point now where you're seeing the people like the gentleman that I just mentioned and the people that care more about the policies and actually being America first fracturing. Now, which side is Trump on? Of course, he's on the side of the people that love him.
Right.
But like that's kind of where like the no kings thing has like at least a cursory level of merit when you love this guy so much that you'll go on Twitter and you'll shit on Pam Bondi and you'll shit on Dan Bongino and you'll shit on Kash Patel for this Epstein situation, but you will not put any of the blame on Trump. Well, who put these people in place? You know, I always thought the fish stunk from the head. And this is why so many times since Trump's little 2-month honeymoon period, where we gave him a lot of praise, where he deserved it. Absolutely. You did, I did, Bell did, we all did. This is why ever since then, we have kind of gone into the I told you so portion of the Trump presidency, because we tried to warn everybody that Trump is essentially, he's just another president, guys. He's just another president who has certain qualities that are a little bit better than other presidents, and some that are a little bit worse. But at the end of the day, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. And here we are. And now you have, I have not seen a lot of backlash against Patel and Bongino for some reason. It is inexplicable to me. It's not zero, but it is absolutely inexplicable to me. This is all being foisted.
Well,
this is all being
those
foisted
two are
on
the
Pam
biggest,
Bondi right now.
Which is wild because those two are the biggest like advocates of getting this shit released, and then like all of a sudden they get this job and they're like, like they're just sitting there like,
I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't.
Yeah, I mean, so is there a chance that somebody got in Bondi and Cash and Dan Bongino's ear and said, "Hey, this stuff comes out,
fucking stop.
You're going to have some trouble." Absolutely, that's a possibility. 100% that's a possibility. But you know what you do in that situation? Do you remember how just a few weeks ago when we talked about how Dave Smith was calling for Tulsi Gabbard to resign over the attacks on Iran?
Yeah. You resign.
Don't you think that should apply to Cash Patel and Dan Bongino right here, right now? If that's what you ran on.
Yes, and this is why I say yes, because as I said in previous episodes, I don't think Tulsi should have, for the sake of just some neocon getting put in her position. I don't think Tulsi should have resigned out of principle. But over something like this, that isn't necessarily... Like, the stakes feel lower when it comes to this list. Because, again, I've already concluded in my own mind that this list is never, ever, ever getting released anyways. A couple people resigning over it and then getting out from underneath the wing of, like perjuring themselves or, like, vowing to secrecy and then getting themselves to just back into the public and then talking about it. Yeah, they probably should have. If they really cared about this and they weren't just sycophants and just posturing and grifting to get in these positions that they're in, then yeah, they should have absolutely resigned.
And that's the same with Pam Bondi too. I mean,
because at this point for them, like Tulsi Gabbard was out there saying that, you know, Iran does not have nuclear weapons. And I don't think she ever recanted her statement. Because Trump said, I don't know where she got her information or whatever. And she just stayed silent. These two talked this big ass game about this, and this was their whole principal reason why they wanted to get into the FBI and grifting and their different little podcasts and stuff like that. And then when the rubber meets the road, they just curtail and tuck their tails. If they resign, what's Trump gonna do? Put another person in that curtails and tucks their tails? Oh no, another person that's just complying to what the figurehead says. Like there's no net loss from this versus like a Tulsi resigning.
And that point also applies to Pam Bondi too, because full disclosure, prior to her appointment, I didn't know a ton about her. But the little bit of digging that I did into her record as a prosecutor, and she was AG of Florida before that, or right before this, right? But mostly her record as a prosecutor, there is a type when it comes to prosecutors. Like, you have to be a certain type to be a prosecutor. And all prosecutors are politicians digging, scraping, and trying to find power and political influence. That's what every, at least, prosecutor in any major city or state does.
Like so they probably just blew, like, we might be looking at the catalyst that blew it for JD Vance in 2028. You know what I mean? He has hitched his wagon to a movement that was big. It was literally moving along, right? That wasted all of its political capital on a shitty implementation of removing illegal immigrants from our country, and then claiming to be anti-war, damn near putting us into World War III. We still don't know, like, where we're at with that, right? Right now it looks okay. We'll see. Sometimes things are a slow burn when it comes to, like, escalating things. And exposing the deep state through this Epstein list, which now doesn't exist. Doge was a flop. They talked about, like the deficit, like trying to balance the budget.
And if you want to hear, if you want to hear good things that Trump has done, I will give him credit on his ability to. I think his immigration policy has not been good, but he has been really good on keeping the promise of shutting down the border. He's done really good there. And his other thing that nobody's talking about that he's actually done a fantastic job on is energy policy. So like, I'm not, I think people know this that have been listening to this show for any amount of time. I'm not some like goofball with TDS that like hates everything Trump does just because it's Trump.
I'm pretty happy about the no tax on overtime right now, and the fact that now I can tax deduct my auto loan.
So you supported the big beautiful bill then, Corey?
No, I didn't support the big beautiful bill, but some of the byproducts of it, I'm like, well, I'm not mad about that.
Before we get into the big beautiful bill, because I did want to spend a little bit of time on that tonight. I've got one more thing that kind of ties into the Bongino Kash Patel angle on this, and it's one more thing that Sagar said when he was speaking with Tucker, and I thought this was, and Tucker did as well. I thought this was a pretty brilliant deduction by Sagar.
The lie at this point is not even part of trying to convince any of this is true.
Yes.
The lie is a signal to everybody else involved in the scheme that to the ultimate ends, the United States government will go to protect all of you.
Yes.
And that's the question.
Man, is that smart?
Purpose?
Can you say that again? Okay,
yes.
So it's a signal.
The lie is not for you and me. The lie is for those implicated to say, no matter what, we will protect you. And then we have to start asking the question, why? As in, what is the purpose of this entire thing?
Yeah, Sagar is such a smart motherfucker. Like, he's the one that made me...
And his hair is always perfect.
Right, and it's like, so that one right there, it kind of coincides with the other saying that he has said that has always stuck with me. For things like when a foreign nation who speaks a foreign language makes a press release in the language you speak, it's not for their people, it's for you. For example, when people in Iran speak Arabic,
they speak Persian, but yeah.
Well, Persian, okay, it's, I'm sorry, I'm not a Middle East expert. But then
they
people
speak some sort of Middle East language. I don't know which one it is.
Even if it's Persian, it's still different than the language that Jewish people speak in Israel because they speak Hebrew. And then you have the guy who's from a nation who speaks Hebrew giving a delivery of a message to the people who speak Persian in English. That's not for the people who speak Hebrew, and that's not for the people who speak Persian. That's for the American people who speak English to try to manufacture consent.
Gotta have
when China releases a statement and it's in English, and when Russia releases a statement and it's in English, it's not for the Russian people, it's not for the Chinese people, it's for the American people.
So.
And like, it's just one of those weird little things that like you connect, just like you were saying about the lie. It's not about, like, how did he put it? It's not about the people.
It's not about trying to convince us. It's about trying to convince the people that are implicated in the Epstein mess that they're safe.
Yeah.
Is essentially what he said. And I have it's not really a provable statement, but it's one of those things where it's like, this is probably a situation where that makes the most sense than ever before, because the American people, everybody smells something with this. I mean, even if you are, the Ben Shapiro types that take to the internet every day and find a way to make excuses for everything Trump does, because for Ben's particular audience, because it helps Israel. But like, you trying to tell me Ben Shapiro in his heart of hearts doesn't realize something stinks here, even if he's throwing out pro-Israel using it to throw out pro-Israel propaganda? Of course he does. Everybody knows. Everybody smells it. Everybody smells the shit that is coming out of there. And that is the major question, is why. So that Sagar answered asked at the end of that video. Simplest answer is that it would bring down our system as we know it if we actually see what went on here. I mean, it would show that Alex Jones and Q were right all along, that there really is some sort of huge cabal of elite pedophiles that that somehow power corrupts your mind to a point that you get enjoyment out of abusing kids.
Or is it like a humiliation ritual, right?
Yeah. Or, there's a huge pedophilia problem in the intelligence community. Sagar talked a lot about that.
It's interesting, right? Because when we talk about the humiliation ritual, like in the beginning, it's about to blackmail people, but once they cross a threshold of this depravity and debauchery, that like they grow accustomed to it. Because I remember listening to one time in an interview with Jordan Belfort, and he's the Wolf of Wall Street guy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't anything to do with anything like minors or anything like that. He goes, all of a sudden you get with this group of people and everyone is trying to cross a line and to show like the depravity and the debauchery. And then once you cross a certain threshold of it, everything is off limits. And then all of a sudden you get a thrill out of being the most depraved one. And
I mean,
it just
I
sounds like
don't
that's
even
what's
think
happening in our power with elites. Like it's just,
I think you could even tie that into something that like a basic person could understand. By that I mean, look no further than something like porn addiction, right?
Or make it more innocent. Make it roller coasters.
I'll go with porn because I think I have an easier way of explaining it, and then I'll let you do your little Mickey Mouse roller coaster explanation. But the reason I use porn addiction is that it's something that I feel like everybody can understand. You get introduced to porn at a young age, and at first it's really, really innocent stuff. You're 12 years old, you see a picture of boobs. Ooh, I like those, right?
Yeah, just the Playboy still frame.
And then over time, you need more and more and more and more and more to get your fix out of it, to the point where, you're watching prolapsed asshole porn by the time you're in your 40s. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
this is
why I was kind of going to go around the same route where I was going to say, like you start off
very much like roller coasters.
Yeah, you start off on a little roller coaster at a carnival. It's just the short little tiny one,
Did I just say something about myself?
I don't know. was that a Freudian slip?
No, dude. I can't get behind the prolapsed assholes. I haven't gone quite that far yet. That's God.
You're just looking into a mirror, like a telescope of your future. you're being prophetic. No,
man,
but
if I were in power, I would have bet on
little roller
$2 a
coasters.
day.
Then you just constantly want to go faster. You want to get higher. You want to do the loop. You want to go. You want to go harder. You get hooked on the idea of the thrill of itself. That like you need to keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it.
Yeah, it's a great analogy. I'm glad you went so much better than my prolapsed asshole analogy. You have any closing remarks about the Epstein deal?
Yeah.
You're gay.
We thank Bell again for finding a way in to Epstein.
Yeah, I just close the statement. I'm glad that to find out again that there isn't a pedophile ring and that Jeffrey Epstein didn't hang himself. And I'm gonna have to change my Wi-Fi name now because my Wi-Fi name for the past 5 years or however long it's been since Jeffrey Epstein did in fact kill himself. My Wi-Fi password, or not my password. I'm not gonna give out my password. My Wi-Fi user, my Wi-Fi name is Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
I didn't know she was black.
I'm gonna have to switch it back to CIA van number 6.
And look, I think this is the perfect demonstration for the title of our episode tonight, which is that the swamp drains Trump, not the other way around.
Yeah,
even if you love Trump,
like look at that. It took him 8 years in politics, and he fell right in line.
Sure did. In fact, wasn't he? I wish I'd pulled this video up, but he was.
God, did he fall in line? This
he
big
was asked.
This guy was supposed to
Yeah.
be this big, tough, powerful guy. Art of the deal. Just fell right in line.
I just paid $88.
The biggest load that we've seen.
That's right. The swamp drained him, and here we are. And one more comment I wanted to make about J.D. Vance, because you brought him up, and something that I found interesting was J.D. Vance could find himself at a crossroads right now. He could go against Trump here, and he could go with the side of the MAGA movement that I actually, in a lot of ways, actually like. I think they're still crazy in their own ways, but anybody who's militant about any sort of political movement, I think most of you are crazy anyway. Left or right, doesn't matter. But if I was going to pick a side in this, I would pick that side.
The ones that are like, this smells fishy versus the ones that, I just trust Trump.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Donald Trump does. Yeah, the dear leader. Can't go against dear leader. J.D. Vance could make that move right now. And I don't blame him for not doing it just yet, because he may be, I would assume that he's smarter than me on this because he's actually in the White House. But you had Iran. Now you have this. If there's another one of these, I got to believe that J.D. Vance is going to start considering that a little more, because he's got to do it at the right time to where it works out for him politically.
Yeah, no, it's crazy that we're only, July 20th would be, 7 months in?
Yeah. We got a long way to go.
Yeah, we got 3.5 years, and Trump has already spent all, and I mean all, of his political capital.
And J.D. Vance, I don't know if a lot of people know this. Anybody who took an 8th grade civics class should. But J.D. Vance can't be fired. Like, Donald Trump can't, remove him as vice president for going against him. Can't do that. Just like a president, the VP can be impeached. So that might be something that JD has to consider.
It would never happen, because the Democrats have such Trump derangement syndrome that if he even just went against Trump a little bit, there goes half the vote to impeach him.
Yeah, they wouldn't impeach JD Vance. The Democrats wouldn't. And you would probably have a Republican split on that.
Mm-hmm.
But the only reason I could see him never doing it is just the idea of showing, that whole idea of showing American weakness to the world. Like, oh, the world's going to look at us, a president and his VP can't even be on the same page, kind of thing.
Right.
It's the only excuse I could see him going with. But again, if you have principles, JD has shown me in his short stint as VP that he has some and has no issue going against certain others. So it might be, it's just something to kind of keep an eye on going forward. Where does J.D. Vance fall? And how quiet does he stay? Because I think if he stays quiet, if another issue like this comes up again, that's going to speak volumes to me. Just him staying quiet. Because he's been real quiet on this. So is Trump, though. Trump was he just asked a question by a reporter? I wish I had the video. Where he was like, we're still talking about Jeffrey Epstein. We're still talking about that pervert. Yeah, because it's important. That's why we're still talking about it. And you have so many Trump sycophants on Twitter right now going, oh, I'm so tired of hearing about Jeffrey Epstein, who 3 weeks ago were salivating over the possibility of a fucking report on this. We see you. We know who you are. You can't hide from Twitter. Twitter is forever. Just ask the old tweets people. You got the video?
So I had this video. It's one of my TikToks, but I'm just going to...
Just play it now. It's cool.
I'm going to.
What are you doing?
There are 2 pieces of content.
There we go.
The exact same energy.
And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the day of the
Yeah, sure. If I
Pam,
could,
could I just interrupt for
Sure.
1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable.
How out of touch are you, Trump?
Simon, do you feel like answering?
I want to pause this real quick. Look at his cup.
What about it? Is it empty?
No, it's covered. He doesn't trust someone in that room.
No, dude, that's just a regular paper cover. I see those a lot. If you go to like high class hotels and shit, they put covers on glasses like that.
Yeah, because they don't want people to get roofied.
Right.
Right. He
That's
doesn't
probably
trust someone in that room.
I doubt that's him, bro. That's probably the Secret Service. I'm not going to get into that.
They don't
conspiracy
trust someone
theory.
in that room.
Yeah.
I
trust
don't mind
anybody.
answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened.
What about people who say you're only interested in the Middle East for oil?
What? Huh? Oil? Who said something about oil, bitch? You cooking?
That's literally
Yeah, it was just a bizarre response. Like
what?
Trump could have just kept his mouth shut and just let Bondi answer the question. Why did he even inject himself into that?
I don't know, man. But he's what?
Very
Why are we talking about this still? We've been talking about this for years. No, your whole fucking administration has been talking about this for years and say you're gonna fucking release it because the Democrats are the ones. Bill Clinton, which he isn't getting a pass. We know that motherfucker was out there all up in miners and stuff like that. And I'm not talking about the ones digging coal. It's again, we're never ever going to see this list. And I'm not even surprised by this because of the fact that there are too many people intertwined from either side of the little political spectrum that is a marionette of a show that is put in front of us as a puppet show when it's the same party.
You trust your mother every night to fix your Hot Pockets and make sure your Game Boy is turned on?
Yes.
But not the government.
But not the government.
How else has the swamp drained Trump, Corey? Big beautiful bill.
Yeah.
Critiques of the big beautiful bill. We talked a little bit about this at the top of the show. $3 to $4 trillion added to the deficit over the next decade, expanding ICE and Border Patrol, which that part, money's going to be spent. I'm okay with it, a little more okay with it being spent at home. It's like I got into the dumbest, this is a little bit of a tangent, but I got into the dumbest argument with somebody who like considers themselves a little bit more libertarian than me this week. And they were pissing and moaning about Medicare and Medicaid, right? Which is a common talking point from libertarians. And their point is well taken. There should be no need under a free market libertarian control for Medicare and Medicaid to exist. Like, I know what their points are, and I don't even necessarily disagree with them. But my point was, if you told me that you were going to take the $1 trillion Pentagon budget and take every dime from that, not every dime, let's keep a standing military for defense. I don't have an issue with that either. But take most of that money and pump it into Medicare and Medicaid. I would look at that and go, that's not a perfect solution. I don't love it. Would I prefer that? Yes. Because now, at least if the government is stealing our tax dollars through federal income tax, it's at least being spent at home as opposed to overseas. So it's like this argument that you get into libertarians sometimes where they let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Like, if we get to a point where we can have those policy arguments and they actually make sense, I'm all for it. That means we've made a lot of progress from a free market libertarian perspective. But anyway, that was just a little bit of a tangent. I didn't mean to go off like that. But my concern over the ICE and border control spending is the possibility of expanding detention infrastructure. Like, we already have pound for pound the most incarcerated population in the world. Let's just add to it.
Dude, yeah, and we're giving them money. I was looking up recently, it's funny that you mentioned like ICE, right? And they're giving them more money. Recently, you know Straight Arrow News.
Yeah.
They analyzed LTE cellular traffic in an anti-ICE protest in Tukwila. I'm not exactly sure where that city is. But
Tukwila?
Is it Tukwila?
Probably.
Tukwila.
I don't know. I'm just going with my Spanish nomenclature here.
But they used a thing called Marlin that was supposed to detect whether or not like people's phones are being tapped, and which is called an IMSI, which is short for, can't find it at the moment, so I'm not going to look it up. But basically, these people without warrants were all getting their phones tapped while they were just protesting anti-ICE stuff through like software programs. And they were looking up, like, there's a TMISI, which is like a temporary thing, which is like where it pings like what your phone is and like where you are and stuff. And then there's like the IMSI, which is like your regular one that's always there, but the TIMSI is
Everything's
designed,
computer.
Yeah, everything is computer. And the TMISI is designed to like protect your MISI. And
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
The government was basically tapping into people's phones at protests without a warrant to get their information, to identify the people that were there. Because
gotta love that Patriot Act.
Yeah. So ICE was doing that. So we're giving them more money to spy on you and infringe on your rights. Because now ICE can apparently also spy on regular citizens, not just illegal immigrants.
Is that the equivalent of Biden's adding whatever it was it 80,000 IRS agents? Is this Trump's
armed
equivalent to that?
Armed agents.
Armed. Yeah. Men with gun for no pay money. I want people to watch this, because you're going to see something over the next couple of election cycles. I'm making a prediction here. I could be wrong. Predictions are not always correct. Just ask Dave Smith. That you're going to start seeing, you're going to see attack ads over the next couple of election cycles based on this bill. Anybody that is sort of an anti-Trump Republican, or, a Thomas Massey, I'm sure he'll get hammered in his region of Kentucky with these types of ads. They're going to say things like, Thomas Massey voted against tax cuts, right? Because there are tax cuts in this bill. And this is the thing that Massey explained.
That I personally will benefit
Keep
from.
an eye on.
That for this, but I'm saying like the tax cuts, yeah, I'm going to benefit from.
But this is the thing that Massey said in his chat with Theo Vaughn. This is what they do. They shove all these things into this bill, and then somebody like Massey doesn't vote for it because of his basic principle of reducing the deficit, and they'll attack him by going, oh, he's against tax cuts for poor people, or he's against tax cuts for the middle class because he voted no on the big, beautiful bill, when the tax cuts were not the thing that he was voting against. What he was voting against was, where does this fiscally put our nation by the time it's done?
Right.
Which is $3 to $4 trillion added to the deficit. This is the bullshit game that they play, and people eat it up. It's sad. It's really, really, really sad. And this is why single issue bills are what we need. But who doesn't want that? The government doesn't want that. The people that actually have to vote on these bills don't want that. Can you imagine if Congress actually had to do its job, if they had to vote on this bill line by line in Congress? They'd still be voting on it.
How it should be?
Yeah, they'd still be voting on it right now, which again is another great libertarian point of shrinking the size and scope of government, because if you have a smaller government with less overall power, there are a lot less things that you have to vote on from a federal level in the first place.
Facts.
But you have to, it's kind of that pesky little thing of when you gain power, you gain responsibility. So what do? You throw all those responsibility into some bullshit omnibus bill like this, or like Biden's, or like Obama's, or like Trump one's, or like Bush's. We can keep going back if you'd like. Just look out for that.
Yeah.
Look out for those attack ads.
Just
They're
get ready
coming.
for it.
They're absolutely coming. Because it's not to say, I think even if you ask Thomas Massey,
Did Rand Paul vote for it?
He did. He voted against it. I can actually pull up everybody that voted against it. I had it in front of me just a second ago. So the Senate voted on the 1st of July, 50-50. Obviously, J.D. Vance broke the tie. 3 Republicans, Susan Collins, Rand Paul, and Tom Tillis, joined all Democrats and independents in opposition. And the House, you had Thomas Massey and Brian Fitzpatrick joining all Democrats in opposition. It passed by a 218-214 vote. Kind of disappointed in Marjorie Taylor Greene. Maybe would have given her a little more. She'll never go against Donald Trump.
No, dude. Yeah, like, you're disappointed. Like, that means you had actual, like, a level of, how do you know how to put it?
And that's the thing.
To be disappointed of her, you had a standard for her that I'm surprised that you had.
I was really proud of her for the Iran thing. I really was. I was also disappointed in her for calling everybody involved out except for Donald Trump. But that's when you kind of knew, okay, she'll speak out against certain things, but she will never directly go against Donald Trump. And I think part of that might have to do with the fact that I'm starting to genuinely believe that Donald Trump actually is anti-war. I really wasn't sure about that for the longest time. Like, I could look at Donald Trump and go, I don't think he really wanted to drop those bombs on Iran. But for whatever reason, felt like he had to.
Right, because when...
Oh, and don't get me wrong, Corey, I'm not letting him off the hook. He still did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you can do something wrong that you didn't want to do, which is, again, that's why I named this episode The Swamp Drains Trump. Because that's what we've seen over the last month, is the swamp draining Trump, not the other way around. I'm not letting him off the hook. But again, it's that whole thing of, like, who has their claws in the presidency? What else do we have? Do we have anything else? Tucker did also talk to the president of Iran. I didn't watch it yet, but I will.
I listened to it. You know, Iran basically talks about how they want peace, how Israel continually messes with any diplomacy with America and Iran, and how America's word basically is tainted because of Israel. And
yeah, and maybe don't use negotiations as a pretext to bomb a nation. That's pretty rough.
Yeah, probably not.
That doesn't really work out too well for you. And
I did notice things that could affect, like, and then I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I did notice that there was a huge neocon meltdown over the fact that Tucker talked to the president of Iran. Again, you want to talk about woke right? Dude, do you remember when all of, like, the woke pundits from 2017 through 2024 were all, how could you have that person on your show? We don't need to hear them. We know they're a bigot. We know that they hate gays and Muslims and black people. We don't need to hear them. It's like, no, you do still kind of need to hear their perspective. You do still kind of need to hear their perspective. I'm sure Ben Shapiro melted down over this. I'm positive of it. I didn't see it, but it's like, yeah, you don't have to trust.
First he has Putin on, and now he has the president of Iran. This guy
Tucker
is
Carlson.
just
Tucker Carlson has demonstrated that he is not pro-American and that he is absolutely paid by Qatar. Is Ben Shapiro sounding more and more like a robot?
Yeah, always has been, brother.
As the days go by. But it's like you don't even have to trust what the president of Iran tells Tucker Carlson. That's not the fucking point. You know, it's very much like the Osama bin Laden letter to America. It's nice to at least know from Osama bin Laden's perspective why he launched an attack against the United States.
Right.
I mean, I would hope that you don't agree with his
it doesn't turn you into Al Qaeda.
Right. But it's like, okay, yeah, that's nice to know like why in his own mind he did it.
The context.
God forbid we add nuance to this conversation. That would be terrible. Anyway, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to run down a couple little topics that I had that I thought you might find interesting. I think the Supreme Court just said that China is not allowed to buy farmland. Oh, no. Supreme Court. Yeah, the Supreme Court's. No, wait, was it? Something just happened recently where China was not allowed to buy farmland. And I'm not sure if it was the Supreme Court that decided that, or it might have just been Trump himself. And so my question for you was, is that protectionist or a national security threat?
Oh, can it be both?
I can.
As of July 2025, China is banned from purchasing farmland in the United States. The Trump administration unveiled a sweeping national farm security action plan that prohibits land sales
So it was
to
just
Chinese
executive order.
nationals and other. So here's what I would
Do you
say.
think the Supreme, because that's going to get challenged, and it's probably going to make it to Supreme Court. Do you think the Supreme Court upholds that?
I don't know. That's a really tough call. I'm not as much of a constitutional purist as some others, or at least from a knowledge perspective. I really don't know. I'm not going to speak on whether I think they'll overturn it. I'll look into it and give you an opinion maybe next week. But I guess the way that I look at this is you have China buying farmland. So it says Chinese investors currently own around 277,000 acres of U.S. farmland, roughly 0.03% of total agricultural land. All right. So that's a drop in the bucket. Are you more afraid of China owning farmland, or are you more afraid of like the
Monsanto?
Well, I wasn't even gonna go Monsanto, but that's a good one too. What I was going to say is, this sort of theory of like the Bill Gateses of the world buying up farmland to take meat out of the markets to force us to eat bugs. I know it's like this kind of conspiratorial language, but it's like, is China any more? Are you any more afraid of China than you are of that?
So what I was thinking about is, say, like a foreign company from, let's say, like one of our allies wanting to buy this land to create like a different like outlet of food here, let's say, but it's in America. They're going to be hiring American workers. They're going to be doing all that stuff. Does this affect like GDP in a sense that now you're going to have like less foreign investors, friendly or foe? Like there's implications of stuff like this. It's similar to when America put sanctions on Russia and it scared a bunch of countries because they go, oh shit, they could just do that to us too. And then all of a sudden BRICS was formed.
I mean, I
think BRICS was formed before the sanctions in Russia, but it was like kind of weak. And then after Russia got sanctioned, it gained some strength.
Yeah, in talks.
Like stuff like this hurts the US dollar.
I have kind of a pretty simple solution to this. That's simple in theory, maybe not so much in practice. Bro, let's get the states involved. Get the states involved. Have them vote. Let's put an amendment that says you have to be. Let's add an amendment to the Constitution. I know that's really tough to do, and people make fun of anybody who suggests that we add an amendment to the Constitution. But add an amendment to the Constitution that says that in order to buy land in the United States over a certain amount of acreage, you have to be a U.S. citizen. It doesn't mean you can't be foreign and buy property in the United States, but anything over whatever it is, 6 acres.
I would even say 10 acres, 100 acres.
You can't buy anything unless you're a citizen of the United States.
Some guy from China wants to buy 100 acres so he has a decent area of land to go hunt or try to start a business here.
I mean, it wouldn't be.
Spirit.
It wouldn't be unprecedented. In the U.S. it would be, but like globally it wouldn't be unprecedented. There are tons of countries around the globe where it's really tough to buy land if you're a foreigner. It's really hard to buy land if you're a foreigner.
I own a foot of land in Scotland. I'm a lord.
Good for you.
I don't know.
So should we start calling you Lord Corey?
Yeah, I'm a lord of
That's so gay.
Worcestershire in
You can't
Scotland.
even pronounce it right.
Worcestershire.
I don't give a fuck.
And straight. And I'm also an ordained minister.
Anybody can do that. Anybody can do either of those things. You're not impressing anyone.
Are you a lord?
Come on now, you expect me to believe that?
Are you a lord in Scotland?
No, and I don't want to be.
Are you an ordained minister?
No, and I don't want to
Oh,
be.
anybody can do that. That's what you sound like. Get out of here. Speak to your lord with some respect. I'm also
You're gay.
Go outside, nerd. Get out. Go. I ain't got time to be distracted by your work.
Oh, actually, no, I got one for you. This is me speaking for myself.
You make the Pope look like a fool. God.
You're not a pope. You're a lord.
A lord and an ordained minister.
Okay, yeah. Just keep adding that on to the end.
Yeah. I'm a lord and I can legally marry you. I want to be called Friar. Friar Corey.
You can't legally marry me. I'm already legally married, so it would be illegal.
Yeah,
if
hey,
you
listen.
married me to somebody else.
You're not even ordained. You don't know. So just hold your horses, bud.
Mango tier.
You got TikToks for us tonight, Corey?
Yeah, I got some TikToks for you, Dan.
As we draw down to the end of this show.
All right.
Any specific topics you've decided to tackle tonight with your TikToks?
What'd you say?
Any specific topics you've decided to tackle with your TikToks?
So this first one right here.
To defeat the deep state very quickly became the deep state. Pam Bondi says, I have the list on my desk right here. They're rather silent for a few months. Then Elon Musk says Trump is in the Epstein list. Then within weeks, apparently the list is gone. I mean, I'm looking at this photo of Jack Posobiec holding up the Epstein files. It says the Epstein files, phase 1. But where's phase 2? There's no phase 2.
He actually helped Epstein be prosecuted. He was the only person who was involved, kicked him out of the Epstein. You know all this. Like, it's just a very.
Have you heard of Alexander Acosta? You were duped to cover up sexual abuse of children. Trump was you were duped. Out of his. Alexander Acosta was a Florida district attorney. You could look this up. He knew both Trump and Epstein. He was appointed as a Secretary of Labor under Trump and had to resign in 2017 because people found out that he mishandled the Epstein case in 2007 and let Epstein get an illegal plea deal. Epstein was then able to go reoffend, and Trump appointed him in 2017. So I don't want to hear the dude that was brought to the White House to cover up sexual abuse saying that there was, what are you trying to say here? Yeah.
You gotta wipe your face. Can you just wipe that little thing off your face there a little bit? You got a little,
right,
hold on a mud on your face.
You have no points.
Hold on a second. So you have no points. Yeah, when you immediately start attacking someone's appearance, like you're literally like you're straw manning.
That's, and you know what? That's Jack Posobiec and Charlie Kirk. These two guys, they're oddly like the same person. It's almost like they're cloned. They're the two guys that do that. They do the ad hom attacks. And
who was the other one you said?
Charlie Kirk.
Oh yeah.
They do the ad hom attacks, and they do what I had mentioned earlier in the show, where they ask these unfalsifiable questions based on false cause fallacies that are not answerable. And then when somebody doesn't answer the question, they go, "See, you're proving my point. You can't answer my question." It's like, yeah, I can't answer your question because it's not an answerable question. Like Charlie Kirk with his name one city who's gotten better after Muslim immigration, and it's like, that's not an answerable question, and your assumption that it's because of Muslim immigration is a false cause fallacy. So yeah, nobody can answer that question, and it doesn't prove that you're smart.
Right.
Have a debate with somebody who's over 19 years old.
So this next one, I got footage, like live footage of Pam Bondi investigating the Epstein client list, and it's pretty interesting. like just to see how this went down.
Did you shoot this footage yourself? I think maybe you did.
Unshaped car through the window. Driver's gone. Somebody call the cops. We need to find that driver.
They could have killed someone.
Whose car is this?
Yeah, come on. Whoever did this, just confess. We promise we won't be mad.
What?
We'll close our eyes. Just take your car and get out of here.
Sir, that's clearly your car.
Wrong.
Someone
Yeah, or we can work as a team, find out whoever did this and punish him ourselves. Maybe take his bare butt out of his costume and spank him. Maybe you could do it, sir.
Not gonna happen.
Okay, you.
No.
Well, one of us is gonna have to do it.
No one.
I didn't see were Bongino and Cash Patel labeled in that video.
They probably were
somewhere in there. There was also a really good one of somebody trying to tie it to football, and they put the Epstein list on the back of former New York Giants quarterback Daniel Jones as he takes a snap at his own 10-yard line and runs like 80 yards and then trips on the 15-yard line. Jeff Mel sent me that one, our astute guest from the last episode. I thought it was pretty good. I wish I had pulled it up. I could have shared it.
This one's 5 minutes long. I don't think I'm going to play that one.
All right, we're done. Good night.
I mean, I'll play it for a second. No, I'm not going to.
He can't make up his mind. Is that the last one you had?
Nope, I have one more. I had
good.
2 songs, It was just for the sake of 4th of July. It was just 4th of July music. Everyone's out hanging out. And so I had some songs, but I'll play our guy Jack Wells.
He's
your Jesse
favorite.
Wells.
List of things to do, you got a list of all your wishes. That's a wish list, dude. You got your Amazon and Santa Claus and Tooth Fairy too. But I know a list that don't exist, and buddy, so do you. It's the Epstein list. It's a mystery list with a twist. It's a list that we all just missed. Be an optimist, not a pessimist. If you wish to persist, it's probably best to forget that list. Now, what were we talking about? I don't remember, but I can sleep a lot better at night. Yeah, life can just go along. Knowing there's 10,000 hours of sunshine and flowers and nobody doing a damn thing wrong. Hear no, see no, damn Bongino, Cash Patel. Well, I wouldn't want to be a sweating man with bulging eyes. Now tell me them fellas ain't compromised. Any implicated dude will tell you. Anybody on the big list knows just how far the folks in charge will go to keep the status quo. So when the war bell rings, the song that they'll sing is a song that we well know. I-oh, so it's off to war I go. Well, they said they's gonna fix it, but now they're all complicit. They-oh, so it's off to war we go. In the poor after war, what else are we for? They-oh.
Thought that was a good one. And you
I
know
like
what?
How he doesn't. I like how he doesn't edit down himself turning the camera off.
Right. You know what?
A lot of talk about protecting our right. The right to keep and bear the arms that we'll need for the fight. And while we've clung to that amendment with all of our might, other rights have been withdrawn. The right to representative democracy is done. It is money that's selecting all the candidates who run. It is money buying policies that impact everyone. And we fell for the con. Tyranny just overthrew you. Your guns no use cause they are true. But you don't realize it, do ya? The truth is now long gone. The Our leaders passing laws that only benefit the rich. They take our last resources with a clever bait and switch. HMOs and banks and corporate CEOs that they enrich. And that's what's going on. Most voters favor tighter regulations on the banks and taxes for the billionaires, but they just say no thanks. Cause that, of course, is socialism. You fill in the banks, but it's you they prey upon. Don't let party platform fool ya. Excuse us for a moment while we school ya. You can't let partisanship rule ya, or the madness will go on and on and on and on. Da 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 da. Our right to privacy is gone. Devices are the spies for government surveillance. Those are now the ears and eyes. They use the corporate data. No subpoenas, no surprise, and still we don't catch on. You can now be fired for expressing what you think, whether you're at work or doing dishes in your sink. Your union cannot help you. They fell prey to doublethink. They lost the marathon. You decide who's gonna rule ya. Look beyond the red and blue to find a way you can cut through the corruption that lives on. You have no right to education if among the poor, and if you try a life of debt is what you have in store. Education is related to the years you are good for, and those years are soon gone. Corporations freely do their business as monopolies. They're poisoning the planet and they do just as they please, destroying the free market while they spread like a disease as they keep marching on. No longer can we just stick to the party politics due to the fact that they are out to screw ya, and that you can count on. Count on, count on, count on.
I know it's long, but there's been and like
50 companies provided all the news in 84. Now there's only 6, it's 44, less than it was before. A media consensus now exists for every war, and the wars go on and on and on. We can recover from this if we wake up and get smart. It's a long, slow process, but a step is where we start. Let's ignore the menu and start choosing a la carte till the party power is gone. We're the ones who hold the power. This must be our finest hour. We're the ones we must empower, so the truth goes marching on and on and on.
You say they, but it was one guy.
Yeah, I know. Wait, what?
What?
No, I'm just kidding. That's the last one. But yeah, you know, I figure it was a good fitting song for the 4th.
Honestly, I have one last point that actually sort of fits with that video, because one thing I forgot to mention about the Epstein situation. Corey, have you seen the latest already put together distraction attempt for this? The fact that that nothing came out?
Oh, you're talking about the Comey
Yeah.
Comey and who's the other guy? Brennan.
Yeah, James Comey and John Brennan. So this is, I mean, from a political perspective, it's
the bait and switch.
Fucking brilliant the way they pull this off, because it works on normies. It absolutely works. And especially on the normie Trump voters. They're like, this is going to work. It's going to work. So as of about 24 hours ago today, you had Fox News, you had Matt Gaetz on his show, and some others. Breaking news: FBI. There's been an FBI. The FBI launches a criminal investigation into James Comey and John Brennan over the Russiagate probe.
Right.
So here's the thing.
That's fine. We know that was bullshit.
Right. So here's the thing. It's not that that's not important. It's not even that I don't support it. Like, if the intelligence community and the DOJ was used to try to frame Donald Trump for treason, I'm all for bringing those people down. I have no issue with it. However, really fucking convenient timing, isn't it? Really convenient timing. That was as of yesterday. So the funny part is that I was kind of like scrolling through Twitter, like looking for just stuff on this, and I saw a lot of people going, "Don't let this get in the hands of Pam Bondi."
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked at how often that showed up in some of these tweets. Nobody trusts her to get it done following, the Epstein flub. So it's still obviously in the front of people's minds. Hold on, Corey. Last point. No mention of Kash Patel or Dan Bongino. None.
Well, that goes back to what Chuck Schumer said about Trump in the very beginning. You go after the intelligence agency, they find 50 ways to screw you. I bet you that this also...
They find 50 ways to screw ya.
Yep. I was trying to think of something.
Sorry, that was lame. That was lame as fuck.
They find 50 ways to screw ya. Don't let them outdo ya. I don't know. I was trying to think of something slick, but I couldn't think of anything in time. But yeah, no, watch this one end up being someone trying to empty their pockets, looking for their keys to get into their apartment after drinking for 15 hours with their friends. Like, oh, they're not here. I don't know.
The biggest load that we've seen.
Anyway, are we done tonight? We're 2 hours
That's all I
in.
got.
I didn't have to take a shit the whole episode.
I have to piss so bad.
That Pepto must have really done its job. I don't know if Bell will be back next week or if we'll be sending him off on another assignment. It just depends on what happens in the news this week.
What's the old Pepto song? Chest, belly, bowels, and or something like that. Remember?
Balls? I don't know.
Do you drink Pepto when your balls hurt?
No, but maybe I should.
Let me know how it goes.
Pepto fixes everything. You've been listening to Libservative. He, as always, has been Corey Walsh.
He's Dan Griffin.
This has been Libservative Intellectual Idiots, fostering political and cultural literacy and the world's smartest internet show. And until next time, we are out of here.
The great fundamental issue now before our people. We, the people, cannot turn back. Somebody must lead, or else the fight would not be made at all.